White Hill residents have their say on the government's relocation plan. That's our top story in your Barbados Today evening news update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Let's talk. That's the response of White Hill residents to news that they will soon be relocated to safer ground in the parish of St. Thomas. The Ministry of Housing outlined a plan for the community which has been virtually cut off after its major access road was destroyed by a major landslide in 2014. Now, under the plan, residents will be handed brand new timber and wall houses, and in some cases, they will be able to pay for the land at Farmers St. Thomas at a reduced cost. Our Anmar Goodrich Boyce tells us more.
It's taken 3 years of complaining and pleading from residents right here at White Hill St. Andrew to get a decisive action from government. The plan, 22 houses will be relocated to Farmers St. Thomas. Residents say they're not surprised by the decision, given their fear of more land slippage in the rural community. But first, they want answers from authorities.
So it's no good news to us because there's no guarantee in that statement. Because he said he's going to move the house according to funds. There's no guarantee. So this is no good news for White Hill people. The good news is that when they come and we are moved, then we will know that it's good news. This is bare promises for election. We all know that. I like them to put Mr. Kelman to put his money where his mouth is. We White Hill people might be abandoned, but we are not stupid.
Why be glad? Why know how I walk all down this long here with a box by my head? Why be glad? But the last time I heard the city relocating was inside Spawn.
All right.
Was inside Spawn, no Farmers, no. You got me struck.
But when you going inside Spawn,
Why never to hear about Farmers? I hear about Sage Spawn.
I will never move from here and go inside Spawn.
So I know about this one here now. This here new to me. Cause all the spots in Farmers gone. What part of spots is now? Where them is now? So I waiting to hear from Mr. Kelman. Tell he come to the community. We need to see him.
I would like to ask the Minister Kelman in which year that this is going to happen. I was in 52 years. And it take about the first phase of people went down about over 20-something years ago. It took another, call it, over 20-something years again to move another 3. I would like to know which year that this thing happened. Well, you got over 100 families in this district, this district. I don't know when this thing will happen, when it will happen.
Yesterday, the Ministry of Housing and Lands made it clear that resettlement will not be allowed at White Hill. It said the government will acquire the land from White Hill residents, and anyone who chooses to erect structures in the community will not be eligible for relocation. The Ministry of Transport and Works and the National Housing Corporation will dismantle and remove the houses at White Hill. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, Barbados Today.
In other news, Barbados urgently needs to switch gears to fix its economic ills. That's the warning of former Prime Minister Owen Arthur. He sounded that today as he addressed this year's Innovate conference. Likening the Barbados economy to a speeding vehicle, Arthur cautioned that it was fast approaching a dead end and it must change course to avoid plunging into a calamitous developmental trap. He cautioned Barbadians that the era of the welfare state, in which citizens were guaranteed free social services and other entitlements, are fast coming to an end.
Barbados will fail if it does not embark on a similar endeavor. The essential challenge, therefore, facing the Barbados society is that it too has called such a new technological dynamism into existence to drive its development in order to replace and to redress the imbalances in the old order of things.
Barbados Labour Party political hopeful Sandra Husbands is not quite giving the thumbs up to the party's plan to reinstate free tuition for Barbadians attending the University of the West Indies. BLP leader Mia Motley declared this intention at the party's annual conference last weekend. But speaking at a news conference today at her constituency office in St. James, Husbands, who said she was not speaking on behalf of the BLP, suggested that the state should only pay for areas of study critical to national development.
That is my opinion of how I think it can be approached, but Ms. Motley will share exactly how they will go about it. My view on that matter, it does not mean, for example, you have some areas of study that may not be part of your national development plan. If you find yourself with limited resources, you may have to make choices. How they come up with those choices and how they deal with them, this will be outlined by Ms. Motley when she outlines the plan. But all of that is conditioned by the funds and resources which we have. I think that we have discussed at among people that yes, we cannot just let there be inefficiency in the way in which university operates in relation to the Barbadian student, how we do that. What are the changes that the policy will engage? Ms. Motley will share that with you, but we can eliminate inefficiency in how we go about it. One of the things I'm sure will be there is that you have to focus the study on the areas that are critical to national development.
In other news now, a St. Michael man was today remanded to prison after appearing in the District A Magistrates Court on a string of firearms and drug-related offences. 34-year-old Ryan Jason Green was charged with 4 counts of unlawful possession of 4 firearms, 2 counts of unlawful possession of 32 rounds and 67 rounds of ammunition, unlawful possession of cannabis, unlawful possession of cannabis with intent to supply, and trafficking of cannabis. Now, on Monday, members of the anti-gun unit executed a warrant at Green's home at Pile Bay on Spring Garden, St. Michael. They found 3 firearms, 32 rounds of ammunition, and a quantity of illegal drugs. A search of his car also uncovered a 4th firearm and 67 rounds of ammunition. Magistrate Christy Coffey Sargent has ordered Green to return to court on November the 29th. Police, meanwhile, are warning the public to be on high alert for checks from Hunt's Nurseries at Castle Grant St. Joseph and A to Z Supplies and Services at Lodge Road in Christchurch. The checkbooks of 2 companies, that's the 2 companies, have been stolen. Police say the checks are being presented to obtain building materials and alcoholic beverages in most cases. It has cautioned businesses not to accept the checks and to ensure delivery personnel are on the lookout for people attempting to make payments with the checks.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit ticketpal.com and all TicketPal locations to get your tickets, and visit foodandrum.com for more information.
Welcome back with news from the region now. A member of the European Parliament suggests that the Caribbean has little to fear from Britain's departure from the European Union. In fact, he suggests Brexit could actually see more foreign aid being directed to the Caribbean. More in this report from TV6 News.
Chair of the European Parliament's delegation to the Caribbean Forum of the Economic Caribbean and Pacific Group of States and EU Parliamentary Committee after their 2-day meeting in Port of Spain with the CAR Forum chaired by Trade Minister Paula Gopi-Schoon. Brexit, the British vote for the UK to exit the EU, takes effect in March 2019.
What effect Brexit is having, or when it is completed, would have on this issue of the relationship between CAR Forum and the EU?
As you heard, my name is David Martin. I happen to be a British member of the European Parliament, so it has a most immediate effect on me. But in the long run, it is at the moment quite difficult to tell what impact it will have on the Caribbean.
Mr. Walker said the EU is committed to the Caribbean with or without the UK.
And of course, it will still be a market of 450 million people, so it will still be a vital market for the Caribbean countries.
The UK has committed itself to spending 0.7% of its GDP towards foreign financial assistance, some of which goes to the EU.
Further afield, a man suspected of killing 3 people at random inside the Colorado Walmart has been arrested. Police are continuing investigations into why 47-year-old Scott Ostrom opened fire near a cash register at the Walmart Supercenter on Wednesday night, killing 2 men and a woman.
Lots of hours of surveillance to be able to obtain the actual description of the suspect. We're able to get the identification through investigation, and that person was obviously identified as Scott Ostrom. Date of birth was 3/8 of 1970. What we discovered was that Mr. Ostrom did not have an extensive criminal history. There was a search warrant that was obtained for his residence near the area of 7100 Samuel Drive. That search warrant was executed. However, he was not home. Officers were in the area, and this was from a tip that came in from a citizen as far as his location. So officers were there doing the surveillance, and that's when they observed the red Mitsubishi Mirage that was the 2017 that we observed in the video footage seen leaving in the area. The officers that were in the area that were assisting, again, it was assisting agencies along with the City of Thornton Police Department, did a high-risk stop on the vehicle and successfully were able to take the suspect into custody without incident.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic evening.